Hey everybody, welcome back. Hello, welcome. Today I'm really excited because I am going to be talking about books. I know it's completely different than what I've been doing, but it's something that's just so personal to me and something that brings me so much joy, which is books and to read. I started reading at a really young age and I've always loved it. It's always, encouraged my little fantasy brain because I love to live in a fantasy and I love a good story, and it just really takes me to another place, and it's a way to escape. It's something that's just fun for me, and I've always loved it. So I started reading well before the age of 5, and I've always kept a book. I like the physical book. I like hard copy books, and I'm always interested in a good book. So I'm always looking for recommendations, or I'm always looking at like the top bestseller list. Not so much anymore. I used to be really on that, but yeah, so I just love to read, pretty much in a nutshell. So this video is going to be the start of kind of a series that I wanted to do where I talk about my favorite books. I'm not starting a book club, but I just really want to share because they're so good and they've been so helpful to me in my journey in life and just in general. So why not share that, right? So this is exciting for me. I hope you guys like it, and I'm going to get into this book. So stay tuned. Okay, so the very first book that I'm going to talk about, it was a book that was recommended to me by a friend. Shout out to Chris. He recommended this book to me, and I really, really enjoyed it. I got so much from it, and it really taught me a lot. So surprisingly, I'm excited to kind of get into it now because of that, because I really want to share that book with everyone, because I know if I loved it so much, somebody else is going to love it too. So that book is called Demian. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's called Demian. It's right here. I have the physical book. I know there's a glare, but like hopefully you can see it. The cover looks kind of crazy. It kind of looks scary, but it wasn't. It was really good. So the books that I'm going to start, talking about, or in this series, I guess the first few books I'm going to mention are my top favorite spiritual kind of books. I was challenged by my dad a couple of years ago to start reading nonfiction books because I used to love romance. He told me to start reading, something different, something that would give me some insight about myself, help me to grow. And so this wasn't one of the books that he recommended, but this is exactly what this book did. So this book is by Hermann Hesse, and I guess he's German, and he wrote this book kind of about himself, and it's like a coming of age type of story, which I really love those kinds, and it's basically his story growing up, so but in a fiction form. This is actually a fictional book, but it's based on his life. So the story is about a boy named Emil. And it starts when he's around 10 years old. He's kind of trying to figure out life and what it's about. And he sees it as kind of like this dark place, that he sees a lot of dark stuff, and he just sees all the problems of the world. And then he sees it in a light place as well. He sees things are good, everything's perfect, things are happy, people are celebrating, and he's kind of conflicted. He sees them both and he doesn't really know where he fits in, and he's kind of trying to figure that out. And so the story takes place, or it starts kind of when he's 10 years old, and he kind of gets into a situation where he's being bullied, and I know a lot of people can relate to that. He's being bullied or kind of pressed by this kid, and he's kind of being taken advantage of, and he comes across this kid named Demian. And Demian kind of helps him out of that situation and basically turns into like his guide or mentor. And the only way that I can really describe Demian is he's a little bit older, and he's very mature for his age. And he is what I call like a master manifester. If you guys are into manifesting, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. He just knows how to do it, and he basically puts this kid up on game. And he really, from the beginning, teaches him to be strong, to be confident, to not be afraid of anyone. And he guides him, and they end up having a class together. And he's teaching him how he manipulated things to where he could sit next to his friend, and he's teaching him all these little tricks, and he's really schooling him on how to be confident and be true to himself. And really, that was kind of the theme of the whole book, where it was about finding your true self, discovering who you are, being strong and confident in that. And so that's what Demian was to this kid, Emil. And Demian really, I think he's I don't know if he served a god, but he believed in the god Abraxas, which after some research, I looked it up too because I wasn't really familiar with it. Basically, it's like a deity who's both light and dark. So it kind of goes with the theme of the book, like light and dark, but it's this deity is both. So, it's complete because it's both light and dark. And I think that's kind of how life is too. It's like light and dark. We live in a world of duality. So that pretty much matches up to what, we are here, and who we are even as people, because we're both good and bad, nobody can get out of it. So that's who he kind of, believes in, and he teaches him about throughout the book. And I just love the book because it just really had some good quotables. It really had some things that made me think about myself even, and discovering who I am, and made me think about who that really is. I'm a grown woman, but I mean, we always are in the process of discovering ourselves, figuring out who we are, and we all have our shortcomings, and we're all both light and dark. And it's really about accepting all of that and the totality of that. And so, like I mentioned before, he basically helped him out of a tough situation. And he basically told him, when he was in the bullying situation, he was like, you know what? If you're scared, people sense that. So when they go boo and you go, they're like, oh, he's scary. I could take advantage of him. And he was like, be cool, be confident, and be strong, and don't let anybody intimidate you or scare you, And he also taught him to kind of question everything in that he sees or hears, and not just take it at face value. That even included the Bible, because they had I think it was a confirmation class, and he kind of questioned the story of Cain and Abel, which again, on the reoccurring theme of light and dark, if anybody knows that story in the Bible. So continuing on with the story. So Demian and him were friends, and he learned so much from him as kind of a guide, and then they kind of fell off as friends. And then this kid, Emil, meets another guy, Pistorius, I think it's how you pronounce it. So this guy's a little bit older than him, and he kind of turned into a guide. So throughout the book, he was having guides kind of show him through life and the ways of life. And, at even one point in this book, Pistorius, or however you pronounce it, Emil could see that he was about to surpass even his friend, his mentor, his guide. And that's so true. Like, we have people, even our parents sometimes, where they're guiding us through life. And then there's sometimes a point where you can see that even what they're teaching us is kind of outdated, or you end up learning more than them, and you kind of surpass your mentors, which I think is what you're supposed to do. Anybody that comes in to guide you is supposed to help you on your journey. And, so you can get to that level or better. So, so he had that, and they kind of parted ways after he kind of recognized that he was getting beyond even what this guy was teaching him. And then after that, he reconnected with his friend, Demian, and just got some lessons through that. And what was interesting is that in the book, Demian, he's really mature. He's really meditative, really serious, very, cool, calm, collected, and like I said, very sharp and a very good manifestor. He's very controlled with his energy, and so is his mom. So in the book, it was really interesting that the main character, Emil, kind of falls in love with Demian's mom, and he's like really in love with her, and she's kind of going along with it. It's kind of weird, but to me, what she symbolized in the book is like a divine mother. She's nurturing, but she's strong, and she also is guiding him and gives him good advice, and he just falls completely in love with this woman. And you know, she always says like to look inside. All the answers are within. So does Demian. And, you know, if you want me, look within. Because I feel like we all have that divine part of us. And I think she was a guide. And what she was trying to say was just like, if you have questions, seek it from within in your divine self. That's just kind of how I interpreted that. And that is really so true. You know what I mean? We seek guides and external, but really seek within. Seek to know yourself and discover yourself, and then you wouldn't even have to like need these people as much as you think. You know what I mean? So I think that was just kind of the basically the theme for the whole book, and something that I really enjoyed and something that I took from that in my own life. Like, seek to know yourself fully, discover yourself, accept yourself, and from there, it'd be easier to find the answers from within instead of seeking external validation or answers from people, because sometimes people are limited. You know, there's only so much you can get from them, or sometimes it just wouldn't be true to you. Even in the book, they mentioned that, you know, everybody's unique. Everybody has their own story. So if you really want to find the best answer, it's going to come from yourself, because you're you and you only know what you need and what you want or what you're seeking specifically. Everybody's story is different. So how you do it may not be exactly how they would do it, or vice versa. You know what I mean? Or what worked for them may not work for you, or their journey is a little bit different. Their situation, circumstances are different. So it may not really help you in what you're going through. So really, you know, find yourself, fill yourself out, what you need, what you want, follow your intuition, follow your gut, follow your instincts, and your inner knowing, and your divine self will always have the answers. So I really love that. This just really showed a lot of transformation in the character, transformation from the lower self to the higher self, the transformation from, you know, not knowing oneself to really knowing oneself and being comfortable with that and owning that. Just seeing like the duality of the dark, going through the dark times and the light as well, and figuring out where your place is in that, and just accepting that you're both, you know what I mean? And I really, really loved it. So I'm going to read some of my favorite quotes, I guess, from this book. And it kind of coincides with what I was just telling you about the book. I don't really want to give it all up and go into every single detail, because if you're interested in it, I would love for you to read it too and tell me what your thoughts are. So I don't want to give it all away. But this is where he's kind of teaching him how to manifest. And I really like that, what he said about it. And so I'm going to read it. He says, "I can only accomplish it and will it strongly enough if the total wish is in my mind, when my being is really completely filled with it. The moment that's the case, the moment you attempt a task that something inside you orders you to do, you'll succeed. You can harness your willpower like a trusty draft horse." So he's basically telling this kid that whatever he thinks in his mind, if he wills it and if he just consumes himself with it, then he can manifest it. So I thought that was cool. And let me see, what's another quote? Oh, so he was giving this kid advice who was basically going through a hard time. And the kid asked him for advice, and he was like, well, what should I do? What should I do? And this was his advice to him, and I really liked it. It says, "You have to meditate on your own needs. Then you must do whatever it is according with your own real nature. Nothing else will help. If you can't find yourself, you won't find any spirits." So basically telling him, like, you know, I can't tell you what to do, only you know what to do, and you need to really sit with yourself to figure that out. Because again, like I said, everybody's situation is different. Everybody's needs are different. Everybody's feelings are different. You know, we all go through similar things, but not quite in the same way. So, you know, he was basically telling the guy, you can figure it out. Just trust yourself, know yourself, and look within for the answers. Oh, here's another quote that I like. It says, there was no duty for enlightened people. None, except this, to seek themselves, to become certain of themselves, to grope forward along their own path, wherever it might lead. So that's really true. That's really what the point of life is. And it also says, no one ever arrives home, but when the paths of friends meet, the whole world looks like home for a while. So if anybody is familiar with the spiritual journey and the reincarnations, if you believe in that, you know, you're never in one place forever. You're always growing, you're always evolving, you're always, you know, moving, either through the physical or spiritual realms. And basically what it's saying is that when you find your people, it does seem like you're home for a little bit, even though there really is no home. You just keep moving. So I like that, because when we think about our friends and we think about our friendships and our soul tribe, you know, the people that really resonate with us, the people that feel like home, that's what it's talking about. It's saying that we're all in this journey on different levels of it at different times and different realms and time space. And so when you come into contact with those people that feel familiar, that feel good, like home, that's when it feels like you're settled. It's like we're all on this journey, we're all moving parts. But when I found my friends that I fuck with, you know, it feels like home. It feels like I get a moment to just enjoy this part of the journey, you know, with the people that I really love and I care about. Oh, this one I really can relate to. It says, one must find one's dream. Then the path becomes easy, but no dream lasts forever. Each one is replaced by a new one, and you shouldn't try to hold on to any of them. And I feel like that's me, because I always tell people, like, I'm so ambitious. I'm always looking for the next goal, the next goal, the next goal, the next goal. And, you know, it's all relative, because once you get there, it turns into something else, and it gets higher and it gets higher, and you try to elevate. And so for me, you know, it says don't hold on to any goal, because it's moving anyway. It's changing all the time. You know, once you achieve it, you're going to get a new one. So, you know, keep striving towards your goals and your dreams, but don't really attach yourself to them, because, you know, once you achieve them, they'll change. Or if you don't achieve them, you'll find new ones. So, you know, I really thought that was cool, because that is so me, you know, goal oriented, ambitious, but, you know, it's hard not to get attached to a goal. But it's true. Once you're there, you know, it's really nothing. So I thought that was just a really good advice. And so, yeah, that's the book. I really loved it. I really recommend it for people who are interested in coming of age, or interested in, you know, getting some really sound advice on how to find yourself and to know yourself, and to be empowered by that. So the book is Demian by Hermann Hesse, a German author. Highly recommend. Shout out to Chris again for recommending this to me. And this is a book that I'll read over and over again. I tab it and I look at the quotes. I highlight it even. You know, just when I find something that I really, you know, love, and it's something I can read over and over again, and something that's been really impactful to me in the spiritual journey. So check it out, and I'll talk to you later.